at some point the human organism needs to experience what it couldn't experience before. So some condition needs to be created where people can safely visit what has become an odious, terrifying thing. And there's many ways of doing that, but the most important thing is that the mind, the brain, the body needs to be calm enough to visit something that has always been a source of terror. So the trauma needs to be processed, so you need to be able to go there in some ways. And you need to go there, you can go there somatically, as in somatic experiencing and sensory motor. You can go there in your mind, as in hypnosis. Or you can go there sort of in this interesting hypnopompic state that EMDR induces, where people sort of go there, and then what's so fascinating about EMDR is you set up some process in the mind that people very little talk about very little. And you set up these fascinating associative processes. So when you go through EMDR, little pieces of fragments of the past get expectorated in some ways and start being knitted together. And to my mind, that's really the unique thing about EMDR, is this sort of very rapid processing of these fragments, which is very poorly understood at this point.
I asked you theoretically what you think is happening. Do you think it's the orienting response, the interruption?
No, I don't know. Ruth Lanius and I have been trying to do this study with EMDR. Our hypothesis is that the eye movements calm down the thalamus. And you need the thalamic activation in order to move information from the parietal cortex into the frontal lobe. So we expect to almost certainly find thalamic activation. What that associative process is about, where all these little pieces start getting knitted together, I don't know, but it's fascinating. Mm-hmm. But I think we're quite far from understanding that. EMDR, in my experience, rather uniquely, get all this other stuff to suddenly jump in there. See, what's so sad for me is that we did this EMDR study, and our subject did extremely well, and I'm pretty sure that our EMDR study had by far the best outcome of any PTSD study ever done. So that would make some other people say EMDR is the treatment of choice. I wouldn't say that. But it certainly proved that there is something unique and amazing about EMDR. Then we went back to NIH to do more studies to see what's actually going on there. And there was absolutely no interest in it. So what's interesting to me right now is that, and a lot of people started to practice yoga, which is also quite good for traumatized people. Not as powerful a processing thing as EMDR is, but very helpful. And because a lot of people are practicing yoga, there actually is some scientific interest in exploring yoga. So you can actually now do studies on yoga and trauma and understand yoga better. But the money simply is not available at this point to do the scientific enterprise of trying to solve whether it's the orienting response or the corpus callosum or all these different theories that people have about EMDR. We simply don't have the money to go there. So the only thing I can say about it is that we did a study where we focused on the traumatic memory. And before the trauma is resolved, you see the images, you smell the smells, you hear the sounds, and then you process the trauma, and it becomes a story. And so it's taken out of these sensory areas of your brain and moved into the prefrontal cortex. How that precisely happens, we don't know at this point. And you can make wonderful theories about it, but theories are just a bunch of words, and they're not facts. So I love EMDR, but anybody who says I'm an EMDR therapist, I go, that's like saying I'm a hammer carpenter. Like, it is a little technique that helps people to process memories, but it's not, it's not a comprehensive piece. It is a lovely, wonderful, in my hands, indispensable technique. I wouldn't know how to be a good trauma therapist without having that skill. But it's just a skill. And nobody has done the studies to see if what Peter Levine does is as effective in helping people to process their memories, or CBT. Just the work hasn't been done. We happened to do work on EMDR that showed that EMDR was very good. But anybody who says, I have found the treatment of choice, get rid of it. Because there is no treatment of choice. There's a body and a mind that does well with certain approaches and does not do well with other approaches.